Okay, welcome back. 2 p.m. Tuesday, February 11th. We're starting to take. I don't want to say we're starting to do bill introductions on the elections relevant bills that are coming in here as we're starting to think about what the miscellaneous election reform bill will look like. We want to start having the conversations with members. We are looking at H66, an act relating to the number of votes required for a write-in candidate to win a primary election, being introduced by Representative Shy of Middlebury. Madam Chair, how are you?
Thank you.
Welcome to our corner of the building.
Yes, it's nice to be in your new room. I'm sure you're enjoying your new committee.
We are very, very comfortable.
It's lovely. Nice paintings too. Thank you. All good. So I'm Representative Robin Shy from Middlebury. And thank you for allowing me a couple of minutes to talk about this. I introduced a bill very similar to this the last biennium, and it was well received by everybody and got caught up in a larger elections bill that floundered somewhere in one body or in the Senate. Okay, so here I am again. But I did add one more thing to this. So this bill, instead of just doing one thing, now does two things. The first one, which is a repeat, is about thresholds for primary elections. And the current law states that that a write-in, in order to be a qualified write-in candidate, you only need to get half the number of write-in votes as you would have then if you had a petition signed to join. So we're in the House. We need 50 signatures. A person who wants to be a write-in only needs to get 25 people to write them in. And I think that's a fairness issue. People have plenty of time to get together a petition. People who are interested in running for office know well in advance. They know the 5 weeks that are happening, and so if they can't get a petition in, then they ought to be able to get the same number of. So that was my first part. The second part is they titled it "Failure of a Major Political Party to Nominate a Candidate by Primary," and what this says is essentially so currently, if there is not somebody on the a candidate of a major party, we have three major parties, right? Democrat, Republican, and Progressive are all considered major parties. And if somebody is not, if one party is not on the ballot, if there's nobody from the Democratic Party or whatever on the ballot, a group of three people, at least it used to be three, I don't know if it's still three, but it was in Middlebury, can sit down from that party and nominate somebody from that party to be on the general election ticket without having ever done a petition, without having been a write-in vote. You know, if there's nobody running, if after the primary election, one of the major parties doesn't have a candidate, three people can get together from that party and nominate somebody and put them on. And I'm not sure that I would want a legislator who couldn't get a petition in, couldn't get write-in votes, waits till after the primary election and says, now I can get three people to sign me up and put me in the general election ballot. So this says that that can happen, but not for failure of a major political party to nominate a candidate by the primary time. So in other words, the only time this can happen where this group of people can nominate somebody is if a candidate withdraws or there's the death of a member or something like that.
So someone needs to be on.
Somebody had to have been on the primary ballot.
And like petition in,
right,
signatures clean, the whole thing.
Right.
And they have to remove themselves
right.
for like whatever reason.
Yes.
Then they have the ability to
right.
do that process to insert a new candidate
yes.
in that slot.
Right. But if there are zero candidates, you don't get to, after a primary, say, oh, three of us can get together and nominate somebody and put them on the general election ballot. Again, I think this is a fairness issue. You've had two other opportunities to get yourself on the ballot. And if you can't do those things, then I don't know.
No, I appreciate, one second, yeah. I appreciate how you kind of laid it out like mathematically, right? Like, you know, like the criteria is like getting smaller.
Yeah.
It's like the closer you get to the election, right? Less input.
Yeah. Yes. So it isn't. Yeah. Okay. There's a lot less input. That would be.
Yeah.
So just to be clear, that if there were a death or some other reason why the person had to withdraw it, then the committee of three would be acceptable for
Yes.
you. But
Yes, they could do
because
that.
the ballot was blank, that's not
Right.
acceptable to you to use the three-person.
Right.
committee. Thank you.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Representative Pistol, then Representative Waters Evans.
Representative Pincinel from Dorset, I am also town clerk.
Ah,
Would you consider putting something in this write-in bill that the candidate has to declare his candidacy before 5 o'clock that evening? So that clerks wouldn't have to search for write-in candidates, write-in ballots?
tell me more. It sounds like, I don't
What
understand it
happens right now
entirely.
is we
Yeah.
have to go searching and hand touch every single ballot looking for candidates' names
Oh,
if-
who are writing, who are
or
writing.
write-ins.
Oh, I see. So what you're saying is
So
it would
if-
help your job if
It would
they were
help the
declared.
night of elections.
Yeah.
If the candidate who's doing a campaign, write-in campaign, file the paper with the town clerk saying, I'm doing a write-in campaign,
Yeah.
search for my name. That way, if
Yeah.
nobody files for a write-in campaign, we don't have to look at the write-in campaigns,
That
regardless.
That makes sense to me. My
That-
concern was with the numbers and the fairness, and that seems like that would be an efficient use of
Time on
time.
the
Yeah, that
election
would make
night.
like your life a lot easier. So
But if you
I'm
don't
all for
have,
that.
if you don't have it announced that you're doing a write-in campaign, then the clerks don't have to look for the ballot, look for the.
I think that is a very worthy footnote for us to consider as we
Yeah.
develop this bill.
Great. Oh, it's nice to hear what town clerks have to say.
What's that?
It's nice to hear what town clerks have to say about these things.
This is gonna work.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I feel like that was an ass.
There we
Do
go.
you have any idea? I know, did you see
Got
that
it,
it switched?
She got it.
Do you know how this is done in other states? Is there a variety of ways that they deal with write-in candidates, or is Vermont the only one who allows this?
You know, that's a great question. I didn't actually do that research.
That sounds like a great
so,
email to NCSL.
I was just gonna
yeah.
say.
And if you find out, I would really actually be very interested in this.
Yeah, I'll look.
I was strictly looking at what we do in Vermont and thinking about what should be fair and that if people are gonna take on the serious role of being a legislator, they need to get input from their future constituents and,
Sure.
you know, so that's where I was coming from. And I think, I'd love to know what you find.
I will.
Any other hands?
So just, sorry.
Representative Pistol.
So just to clarify, we're asking it to go from the 25 to the 50.
Right.
You have to, which makes it more understandable and not second guessing, oh, do we have 50, do we have to find?
Right. And then obviously it'd be 100 for senator, what equal number, whatever you had to
Whatever
do for the
equal number for-
position is the same thing for the write-ins.
Which for a town office, it's 1% of your voter checklist or 30, whichever is less.
I think we're only talking.
We're only talking primary.
Yeah.
We're only talking
about
about primaries and
elections.
we're only talking
Right.
about like state rep or veteran.
Right.
Right.
Yep.
No, you know what I'm saying, from like the floor up with the whole
Right.
structure of the thing, yeah.
You mean that House of Representatives down? Is that-
Yeah. We're just down here in the, grinding away, yes. No, thank you very much, Representative. You know, when this came in, I did recognize it as one of the pieces that we did include these last
Right.
biennium. That's why I wanted to get you in here early, so we could fortify one of the pieces that we were definitely gonna wind up considering, so thank you.
Okay, great. Well, thank you. Thanks for all the work you're doing and the work you've already done this session.
Yeah. It's a nice little break right now.
Appreciate it,
Thanks
yeah.
again.
All right, take care.
All right, that was a little closer than
We have all the individuals, oh no, Brooke Page
Maybe
is not
Woody.
here,
we don't have a Woody.
right? So he's coming all the way from healthcare though, that's a really long walk.
On the stairs, bro.
Yeah,
Um,
so maybe I'll bring something up,
Go for it.
that we're taking bill introductions, cause we're trying to hear about as many of the, I don't know, 1,000 bills that are gonna be presented, gonna be introduced. As many as possible, but we need to keep in mind that if they're relevant to another bill that we're doing, it's important to try to think about consolidating those ideas. And just keep in mind that everything that comes up is up for grabs, whether we're gonna take it up or not. And I think people listening need to understand that as well. That I think sometimes it's understood, maybe not intentionally misunderstood, that if it's on our wall, we're gonna be working with it. So I think that's important for people to understand. And for our new reps too.
Yeah, that's in-house and out-of-house. Yes, it's been seen. And then also like, as we're doing this, like if it is like a bill of interest that you think is, you know, appropriate, like we're working on the, you know, the elections conversation right now. Public safety is gonna wind up being a conversation as well. We don't have a lot of bills start building up in this moment, but that's gonna either wind up developing in the Senate or over here at some point. So our big subject matter that is relevant to the big things that were the like screaming prize for attention from the public during this last election cycle, please be aware of those. And if you have something you want us to consider, please. And with that public service announcement, we do not have a representative page. So